Hey guys, it's Sam, and today I want to do a book chat on a more serious topic for me, and that is how anxiety affects my reading. So this is a video I've actually been meaning to do for a very long time, basically since I started my channel, because it is something that I know other people probably do struggle with, and I wanted to talk about it with people and let people know that they are not alone in this, and this somehow affects them as well, and also just kind of let you guys know about how anxiety kind of affects me as a reader specifically. Again, it's a part of my life that I have talked about very briefly, mentioned here and there on different videos, but I haven't gone into great detail about it. And it's something I've been meaning to do and been wanting to do because the thing about mental health is it can feel very alienating to people, and you can feel like you're alone and that no one else is experiencing what you're experiencing, even if you know that a certain amount of people in the world experience depression or anxiety or are bipolar or have schizophrenia or whatever the case may be. It's still very hard to imagine that other people are feeling very similar to the way that you do, because your brain is telling you that you are crazy, that you are alone, and that you are the messed up one. So I want to talk to you guys kind of about my personal struggles with anxiety over the years and how it affects my reading most specifically. So just kind of backtracking, I have had panic disorder since I was a small child, but didn't know what it was until I got into college and after college. So from a very young age, I was nervous. My parents referred to it as a nervous stomach because they didn't really know what it was. It's not their fault. They didn't have any kind of mental health background, but I was always a very nervous child, and my trigger when I was younger was storms. Thunderstorms, tornadoes, stuff like that. So I was very nervous about storms. I would watch the Weather Channel before school for the school week and get really nervous because Thursday we were calling for scattered thunderstorms, and that was very nerve-wracking. I was always at the nurse's office whenever there were storms because I felt like I was going to throw up. I didn't know that I was having panic attacks at the time. I just thought that I was going to throw up. I felt like I was going to die. I felt like I was going crazy, but I just told the nurse that I was sick, and the nurse probably had to have known something if they knew anything about, you know, anxiety disorders or anything like that. But my parents didn't really get it. I was very nervous about going to school on days that had bad weather. I was nervous about school in general a lot of the times, but having bad weather and being away from my family when there was going to be bad weather was my trigger for the longest time, until about 6th grade. And this is where the reading tie-in kind of comes in, but I wanted to kind of give a little bit of a prequel to that. So in 6th grade, I had a friend who is still my friend to this day and who didn't mean to damage me in this way, but basically they pretended that they were a witch in 6th grade, right? They was a very theatrical person, and they said that they were a witch, and they said they had accidentally cursed me at night. I have since talked to them about this way back even in high school, and I think maybe even college, and they said I didn't do anything like that. There was nothing like that happened. But I grew up in a not religious household, but I went to Christian schools. So when you hear about curses and stuff like that, demons is the main focus of that. Anything kind of evil, that is what the religious mentality kind of clings to. So through that, demons and scary stuff like that became my trigger. And since then, that has been a trigger for my panic attacks for the rest of time, basically. I have been scared of that, and that has been my trigger word, trigger instance, trigger everything for a very, very long time. As some of you who have anxiety may know, I know now as an adult that demons are not real, and that that is a metaphor used in the Bible and stuff like that for mental health issues, actually, and that stuff's not real. My mom, who is even religious, says how it's not real. She used to have to tell me as a kid, that's not real, that's not real. But your brain doesn't care that that's not real. Just like if somebody's trigger is like they think they're having a heart attack, they know in their head they're not having a heart attack, but you feel like you're having a heart attack. For those of you that's never experienced a panic attack before, panic attack is used very loosely these days as just being stressed out. Panic attack is not being stressed out. A panic attack, you literally feel like you're dying or something bad is going to happen. You feel like you are having a premonition of the world falling on your head. Like you are going to die. Something bad is going to happen at this exact moment, and you know it, and your whole body freaks out. And people have experienced it different ways. My whole body tingles and feels like it's on fire. I feel like I'm going to throw up. I feel like I'm going to be sick in some way. I feel like my body's falling apart. I start shaking. It is the most horrible experience that I would never wish on my worst enemy. It is awful. And you know in your head that it's going to pass. You know in your head that whatever is happening to you is a panic attack and that it's not real, especially if once you figure out that you do have panic attacks and you do have anxiety disorder, you know it's not real. I'm in the mental health field, and I know when I'm having a panic attack that it's not real, but it doesn't matter. because I've done this for my entire life and my body just freaks out. And then once you have a panic attack, not only are you worried about your trigger, but you're also worried about having another panic attack. So it just compiles out of control. So with reading, getting back around to the main topic, I love fantasy. I love paranormal fantasy. I enjoy fantasy. One of the main words for monsters these days in fantasy is demons. How do you think that works for me? Not very well. So, as some of you might know, I have not read the Mortal Instruments series or the Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. Why? Because they have my anxiety words in there, because they have my triggers in there, and I will not be able to read them no matter how much I want to. I have heard they're really great books, I've heard that their characters in there are amazing, but I, at this point in my life, cannot read them because I have the ability to kind of avoid my triggers, and I don't want to trigger myself and have panic attacks. I know, again, as a mental health professional, that one of the things that you can do to kind of get over your anxiety is to be exposed to your triggers until you work through them. At this point in my life, I do not feel that that is something that I want to do, and I know that technically I probably should be doing that, but I have the fear that I will not be able to get through that, and that'll actually make myself worse. This is a fear that many people probably have. If you have anxiety, you can probably kind of relate to this, but people with phobias and stuff, you know, do this exposure therapy in order to let themselves know that, hey, this isn't a big deal, and I can get through this, and kind of controlling your anxiety and panic attacks. I just don't feel like that's something that I want to do at this point in my life, and I hope that in the future I'll be able to do that and kind of expose myself to it and kind of get used to it and get rid of that potential trigger. But I know also that anxiety works in a way that my body is predisposed to anxiety, so even if I get rid of that particular trigger, my body will probably find another one, because if my body wants to be anxious, it's gonna find something to be anxious about. It used to be thunderstorms, now it's demons and scary stuff. My body's just going to be attracted to that. So I'd rather have a trigger that I can avoid than have a trigger like bridges or driving or something that makes my life a whole lot harder. So that is my personal view on it right now. Again, I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm not speaking for what you should do. I am not speaking for how everybody reacts to things and their anxiety, but that is my story personally. So I also want to talk about how that's affected my reading even more. So obviously I do avoid certain book series, but you guys are probably thinking, wait, you read the Throne of Glass series. Yes, I did. I managed to convince myself that when they said demons in the Throne of Glass that it was just monsters, because that's really what it is. It's monsters from like other dimensions and stuff like that. So I was able to kind of work around that. My most recent big issue actually was in Ruin and Rising. I'm not going to say any spoilers about Ruin and Rising. There aren't actually demons or anything in Ruin and Rising, but there is a kind of magic that very closely mimics what somebody might consider kind of like a fine line, and I was so grateful to Sarah Jane and Kristen, who I was reading the series with, that I actually told them, hey guys, this is very triggering to me right now. I need you guys to read forward and let me know if I can continue with this series, because if I wouldn't have had them, I probably would have had to stop reading Ruin and Rising, and that would have just made me so upset. And thankfully I had them, and they are very, very understanding and very awesome people, and they completely understood, didn't really say anything negative to me about it, and it was really awesome. So I'm really thankful to both of them, and I've told them that before, but I just wanted to bring that up and how cool it was to have people that were so supportive about it. So I know I'm not the only one with this. I know that there are other people that experience the same kind of thing. I'm sure some of you have anxiety and have triggers in books that you can't read about. I just wanted to tell you guys that you are not alone, that you are not crazy, that if you have to avoid certain books or TV shows or movies like I do, that it's not the end of the world, and that one day, if you feel like you can get over it and if you want to kind of take that head on, you can, but don't feel bad that if you haven't done that yet. Anxiety and any kind of mental health thing is very hard, and it's something that not a lot of people understand. If you don't have anxiety or depression or anything like that, it's very hard to kind of wrap your mind around. I have anxiety and I can't wrap my mind around other mental health issues necessarily. So I know that it's difficult for people that are watching this that don't have any kind of idea of how all that works. But I just wanted to let you guys know, those of you that are experiencing it, that you are not alone, and that you are not crazy, and that if you need to take some time for yourself and maybe not read a certain series that's super hyped up, or if you need to take a break from reading for a while because it just stresses you out so much. I have the same kind of thing too, where sometimes it's not even, I'm not reading anything about a trigger or anything like that, but I will be kind of stressed out from a book, I'll be biting my nails or something like that, and my body will be like, oh, are you having a panic attack? And you're like, no body, I'm not having a panic attack, it's fine. Like, it feels like a panic attack, it feels very similar to a panic attack. No, I'm just stressed out. No, I feel like you're having a panic attack. And I sometimes have to put books down that aren't even related to anything kind of scary or anything like that. They just are a little more stressful, and that's fine. It's okay to do that. So basically, this is just a video letting you guys know about some of the books that I haven't been able to read because of my anxiety, how I hope to at some point conquer those things. So it's just a video letting you guys know how anxiety affects my reading life personally, how anxiety has affected me, and I just wanted to put it all out there. I was, again, very nervous to post this. It's very hard to kind of come out about mental health stuff because you don't want to feel like you're speaking for everybody. Anxiety, depression, bipolar, any kind of mental health disorder is different for everybody, and like I said, I'm not speaking for everybody. I just want to let you guys know how I've been affected by it, and I also was very worried that people would hear my trigger and then use it to trigger me, and that is a crazy notion that anyone would do that and be that cruel, but that's something that is a thing on the internet, and you guys have been so supportive of me just in general, and you guys are some of the nicest people that I have ever had contact with and have talked to, and I know that you guys are very understanding, and I know that this video could help more people than it could potentially hurt me. So I wanted to put that out there for those of you that are feeling alone with your anxiety or depression or any kind of mental health thing, or you feel like a certain mental health thing in your life is affecting your reading or things that you enjoy, TV shows, whatever. I just want to let you guys know that you are not alone, and if you guys ever want to talk about anything like that, any kind of mental health thing, I'm here for you. You can totally drop me a message in any of my social media accounts, and I am totally willing to talk to you guys about that because I know it can feel very alienating. Even people in your own life, like I said, my family for the longest time didn't understand that I had an anxiety disorder, and that what I was experiencing was more than just a nervous stomach, and that wasn't their fault. They didn't have the training, they didn't have the schooling for that, and it did take me getting into college and taking psych courses before I knew what this was, and the relief that I felt from that of, oh my gosh, I am not alone in this, and there are millions of people who experience the exact same thing as me, was so uplifting, and was just a huge weight off my shoulders. So I'm hoping that I can do that for somebody else who is experiencing something like this, that is just feeling very alone, that you are not alone. And I keep saying that because, like I said, these kinds of things make you feel like you are so alone because we don't talk about it as a society, and it is something that is swept under the rug like there's something wrong with us, and there's nothing wrong with you. There are millions of people that are affected by different sorts of mental health disorders, and there is nothing wrong with you. So again, it's a very serious video, but I just wanted to put all that out there for you guys. So comment down below about anything you want to talk about mental health related, and I would love to talk to you guys. I am so supportive of all of you, and I love all of you so much. So thank you all for watching, and I will see all of you guys soon. Bye!